Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Sean from Kirby's Barbecue, and today we have a very exciting video to film for you. We are going to make Kirby's Barbecue's very first smoked sausage. And to do that, we went by our local academy. As you guys know from watching my other videos, absolutely love Academy Sports and Outdoors. And we picked up this Meat Your Maker meat grinder, okay? This is the number 12 500 watt meat grinder. And this one came in at about, I think, 130, 140. So definitely more reasonable than some of the other meat grinders out there. So we're gonna give this a shot and see what we can come up with, okay? So as you can see, very nice box. I already pulled out the manual, instruction manual here. We're gonna see what's in here and we're gonna get started. So we have been in business for about 6 months, and one of the most requested items that we get, well, I guess we're just going to tear this up. One of the most requested items that we get that we do not have is sausage. Okay, obviously we're in Central Texas, so sausage is a big deal around here. However, it was something that I really did not want to buy someone else's and cook it. You know, when I'm cooking, especially with barbecue, man, they got this package upside. All right, when I'm cooking, and specifically when it comes to barbecue, I like to do everything from scratch as much as I can. I like to use my own recipes and not use other people's, because barbecue is one of those things where you can really show off your uniqueness and your culinary abilities. And you have a choice. You know, you can either go ahead and copy other people's recipes and techniques and whatnot, and you'll just be like everyone else, or you can kind of think outside the box and, you know, come up with your own stuff. That way, you know, when somebody says, man, that was really good, you know it came out of your head and not someone else's, right? So that's my take on it. Okay, so we have the actual meat grinder right here. All right. And obviously you've got the head, you've got a few more connections. And the one thing I really like about this, then obviously the feeding tray, right? So the one thing I really liked about this one was it came with all the attachments to actually make the sausage, like the casing stuff, the actual connection, right, to do it. The only thing it didn't come with that you would need are the actual casings themselves, which I picked them up. So these are bratwurst or sausage casings, and they're 32 millimeters, edible, fresh collagen casings. Okay, so I went with this because this is what was available at the time. In the future, I'm going to be using some natural hog casings, but in the meantime, for the first batch, we're going to roll with this. In this batch, we're going to use this to give to friends and family as a Christmas gift. Okay, so if it turns out good, right? So we're going to do that. So let me clean this up. So we got everything unboxed, and I went ahead and washed all the components. If you don't know, when these things come out of the box, they're all oiled up so that they stay, you know, the way they're supposed to. So I went ahead and washed all of them, and now we're going to put this thing together. All right. So although I haven't actually used this specific grinder, I am familiar with grinding meat. I actually had the pleasure of working in the restaurant business for about 10 years, and one of the things that I did was gourmet burgers from scratch. And so we ground all of our beef in-house, and I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of pounds of beef that we ground in that restaurant. So definitely have experience doing that. Obviously not with this specific machine, so we're going to find out how this goes together. Should be pretty easy. Okay. And I left one piece inside, so I'll be back. All right, we're back. So this is a very important piece, the actual grinding. All right, so we'll place that in there, and we're gonna go with a nice thick grind today. Put that on there. Twist this. this should just sit right on top. So a little water in there. Perfect. All right, so that is put together. Pretty simple, right? Okay. We're gonna put this right underneath to catch all the meat. And then I'm gonna show you what we actually have for chopping. All right. So I guess this just goes like that. I assume this was gonna be pretty flush and it'd be tall enough, but I guess not. So I can either do this, or I can set this grinder up on something, maybe wood, right? Let's try that. So this is some fine ingenuity, if I do say so myself. Find a good solid piece. There we go. All right. Let's see if this does the trick here, guys. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? That'll work. That'll work. Always being innovative here at Kirby's Barbecue, right? All right, guys. So I will come right back with the meat, and we'll start grinding it up. We are about to cut this meat up and get it ready for grinding. Now, this is a test batch. Okay. Usually, what I would do, obviously I said this is my first time, but the plan was to do the trimmings for my briskets and pork butt, do pork butt. However, I just got done with a big event this past week, and I don't have any briskets or pork butts in at the moment, and I won't for another week or two until my next event. So went to the grocery store, all right, and I got some beef ribeye roast, okay, and then along with that I got some boneless pork tenderloin. So I know that this is a little bit leaner than a pork butt, okay, but it does have a nice bit of fat, nice little fat cap on here, and then the ribeye has quite a bit of fat cap as well. So I'm hoping that once I get this all cut up, the fat to meat ratio will look okay. If it doesn't, I do have actually one brisket that I'm doing for someone for Thanksgiving that I can probably go ahead and trim early and use that if possible. So what I'm going to do, obviously this is a rib, so we're going to have to cut this up. So let's just start cutting. Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, you know, sausage is one of the only things that I haven't made from scratch in my business, and that's something I plan to change. I've got an event next month, and we're hoping to debut some good meat on this. I can still probably get off, but we're hoping to debut our sausage at that event. Maybe not. And it should be fun. It should be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think people are going to really enjoy it if we can get the recipe down by then. It should be good. See, I got this ribeye because, as you can see, that fat cap is on there, and it does have a lot of, a decent amount of marbling for this kind of cut of meat, right? Nothing crazy like a brisket, but it should work. So we're going to cut this down into cubes. We're also going to cut the pork tenderloin, and then once I'm done with that, we're going to throw this in the freezer, get it nice and cold before we start grinding it. So I will come back to you guys when we're back. So we've got our beef and pork blend here, and then we also added some jalapenos to the bag because we're going to be doing a jalapeno beer sausage. So I'm sure somebody's done a jalapeno beer sausage before. I'm not sure. I just had this idea in my head that I'm going to do a jalapeno beer sausage. That was going to be my signature sausage. Now everybody in this part of Texas does jalapeno cheddar sausage, and I'm not really a huge fan of cheese in the sausage. Sometimes some people make it very well, but overall I'm not really a huge fan of cheese and sausage. So we're going to do a jalapeno beer sausage. So we got about 10 jalapenos in here. We're going to leave the seeds in, okay? We're going to use Lone Star beer, something light, but it'll still give us some beer flavor. And then as a binder, I am using an egg and corn flour mixture. This is what I had laying around in the house. You know, if you have the time to go buy stuff, you know, a lot of people use powdered milk, right? I didn't have any powdered milk at the house, so I decided to whip this up, egg and corn flour. It should work out just fine as a binder. So never turn this thing on. We are going to load it a little bit, and then we're going to turn it on and give it a go. Put some gloves on. Before we do that, though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to season all this meat, okay? I'm going to season all this meat. So let's move this bucket over here. Right. And for me, you're not going to get exact measurements. I'll be honest with you. I am the type of cook that kind of looks at the amount of meat that I have and just kind of goes based on the eye test. I've been seasoning stuff for forever, and so I kind of just go on based on what I see, what I like. So we're gonna start with some kosher salt, okay? And we're just gonna do a nice little pass here, okay? And then we're gonna follow that up with some pink curing salt. This is going to help when we're cold smoking it. So we're gonna be smoking at 150 degrees. It's very low temperature, and we wanna make sure everything's food safe. So this should prevent botulism and any other bad things from happening. We don't want anybody getting sick. So we're gonna do some pink curing salt. You don't need a whole lot, but we're going to make sure we get enough to where nobody gets sick. Okay? All right, I'm happy with that. According to the bottle, it says use at a ratio of 4 ounces for 100 pounds of sausage or jerky, or 2 teaspoons for 10 pounds of meat. So this is about 17 pounds of meat, so we need about 4 teaspoons. So I might put just a little bit more, but I think that's gonna be enough, okay? And then we're gonna go in with some garlic. Can't go wrong with salt, pepper, garlic, so that's what we're doing for this. We're just doing salt, pepper, garlic, and then of course the pink curing salt. Okay, that should work. All right, so with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and start grinding this up. Mix this together a little bit. Some meat in there. Swing this over. Fill up our tray here. All right. And let's get this thing started. good deal. So we got it all ground up right here. You want to get a good look at everything. All the spices mixed in, jalapenos in there, look really, really good. I think we're gonna add just a little bit more seasoning in here, and then we're gonna add our binder, and we're gonna add our Lone Star beer as well. This video is not sponsored by Lone Star, but if they want to sponsor me, I'm here for it. So just a little bit more, guys. And if this ends up being too salty or too spicy or something like that, then we know for next time that we need to make an adjustment, right? But I think we're gonna be all right. So we're gonna add our egg and corn flour binder. Okay, what this is going to do is it is going to keep the flour is going to absorb some of the fat and keep it juicy, and the egg is going to kind of make it all stick together so it doesn't fall apart. Lone Star, like I said, we don't really do measurements around here. We're just going to go. We're going to go with that and see what that does, and maybe we'll add more. So we're going to mix this up, and what we're looking for is to get everything mixed up nice and even, as well as we want a really sticky sausage so this all sticks together. And if it doesn't, we're gonna have to add some more of the binder to make sure it does. But as far as I can tell, this is looking pretty good. All of those white spots, if you can zoom in here, all of these white spots are the fat, which I didn't think we were going to have enough fat in these cuts of meat, but to be honest, it looks like we're going to be okay. And look at that. Sticks to my fingers. Perfect on the first try. This should work. So we're not going to do anything else to this. I think we add enough beer. I think we're good there. And we are going to let this cool in the freezer. Okay, for a little bit, get nice and cool, and then we're going to come back out, put the grinder back together, and case them up, and then we're cold smoke them. All right, see this here got dark. Luckily we have a light here. Hopefully you guys can see. We've got two fires started. We've got one in the vertical smoker for the sausages to cold smoke, and then the charcoal grill over here, that is for dinner. Okay, so we're gonna get this to go. We got the casings all on. Hopefully this is not a disaster. We're gonna give it a shot. Let's do it. Oh, I guess I gotta turn the thing on first, huh? All right. Plug in. This is a bit tougher than I thought. I think we definitely have some air, so we're gonna have to adjust this a little bit. I'm gonna prick this ever so lightly because I think we got too much air here. Okay, so now I got rid of the air there, and let's try again. Okay, working. If you can see this is about the length that we want it to be. We're selling these for about $8, so we want to make sure it's a good size. I'm going to bring the camera over here so you guys can see it. Right. So we're going to do them about this size, and you can see those jalapenos in there. It's beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this done, and then I'll show you what the end product looks like. All right, guys, so it got a little hectic last night, but this is what our final product is looking like. Okay, let me open this bag up real quick. This is what our final product's looking like. Very good color. You can see the jalapenos in there, all that good stuff. We ended up getting probably a good 20-25 sausage links, and as you can see, pretty long sausage links here. And yeah, so it turned out pretty good, but there was a mistake, and I will tell you that here in a moment. All right, so the sausages came out pretty good. They tasted amazing. You could taste the beer, the jalapeno, the spices. It was great. However, it was too dry. Okay, so for first attempt, I thought it was pretty good. It was just too dry to be able to actually sell. So that's going to be due to the meat we use, like I mentioned before. Not enough meat, not enough fat content in the meat. So when we make it next, we're going to make it with our brisket trimmings and our pork butt, and that should have the right amount of fat content to make them nice and juicy. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.